Hey everybody, this is Jerrett. Just had a quick announcement before we get into this week's episode. Due to some personal circumstances, we were not able to record a new episode for this week, so instead we're bringing you a replay of one of our old episodes from the archive. So you might notice a few things different in the normal format of the show just because, hey, it's an older episode and things change. But we hope you enjoy this throwback to the past. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Team Chat Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson. Let's see if we can keep this up as I throw a curveball at him.
Well, you threw him off.
You totally threw me off.
I'll start over. We'll do it again.
Can I actually try?
Yeah.
All right, do it regular.
All right, I'm going to do it regular.
All right.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Team Chat Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson, joined to my right by Rachel Mogan.
How's it going?
And to my left, Zachary Parks.
What's up?
In case you didn't know, Team Chat Podcast is a video game podcast where we talk about games, the ones we love, the ones we hate, and everything in between. If you want to get in contact with us, you can. That was great.
He gave up.
I gave up. I was like, I'm stumbling.
You did a really good job.
Yeah.
You can.
They're gonna. If people are watching video, they're not gonna know who's talking.
They're not going to
Yeah.
know who's talking.
They're like, who? Wait.
Wait, is Zach a ventriloquist now? Is Jared a ventriloquist? Is he
That's why
throwing
people
his
should
mouth?
watch the video.
They should watch the video. The video is great. And you can get that video by going to youtube.com/Team Chat Podcast, checking us out there. And you can, as well as our Facebook, Twitter, or sending us an email at teamchatpodcast@gmail.com, because we love getting questions. We love getting feedback. We love hearing from all of you, the people who listen to our show.
Don't hold back on the praise, people.
Yeah.
Let it fly.
I actually saw we got a new iTunes review.
I saw that.
5
sorry, what?
stars.
5 stars, Mogan.
5 freaking stars.
And it wasn't one of us that made it.
was not.
It wasn't one of our fake accounts.
Oh,
It was
nice.
not. I don't have any fake ones in iTunes, actually.
I'm too lazy to make new ones.
It's hard.
And they said,
And they said it was great.
you guys
Thumbs
are
up.
okay.
Love listening to you in the car.
Is that what they
I
said?
don't remember what it was.
No, they said something like they really liked listening to us in the car. They liked our topics.
Oh, in the
nice.
car.
5 stars. That's what
stars.
they say. So, if you'd like to support the show, you can do that by going to patreon.com/Team Chat Podcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you can support the show. And in return, we'll give you a cool perk like getting each episode early before its general Tuesday release. We recently had a new patron, which we'd like to give an on-air shout out to.
Thank you, Captain Woomy.
Captain Woomy, who is
is that?
friend of Mogan's on the...
Woomy is a
a
noise
woomy?
that your inklings can make.
Oh, okay.
It's like
that
a
makes lot
happy
of-
noise.
That makes a lot of
Does it
sense then.
sound-
It sounds like Woomy.
Oh, really?
That's exactly.
Is it like, whoomie?
Yes, it's very
Okay.
like high pitched and
Yeah,
adorable and
and
stuff.
annoying.
It's
Okay,
fun.
got
Annoying, just already laying it down.
So actually,
sounds annoying.
the I guess you might call it like a taunt is you can do the booyah button when you're in play, and it's like how you signal to your own team that like stuff's going good.
Yeah.
I
That's
guess
good.
you could also get salty and like do it too many times. It's like a bad thing, but it's mostly hilarious.
Question: how do you communicate with your squid teammates?
Well, if you're actually in the game, you don't.
Okay.
You have to be on like an.
That's why you have
external-
to use
yes.
Discord,
Yeah, you
like
have to
what
be
you
on
do.
an external chat function
Okay.
if you want to
'Cause I was
actually
just
talk
thinking
to
about
them.
the Switch, and if I want to play with my friends, like Mario Kart, how
I
am
do
I gonna
believe
talk
they
to
said
them?
they're going to do something about
really?
that.
Okay.
But you might just have to jump on the Discord
Okay. Is that an
bandwagon,
app?
which is it's very easy to
Okay.
use. I use it on my phone, and it works through Wi-Fi, so
Okay.
it's not like it eats up your data.
Nice.
Noise.
like that.
Just
I like
plug
that.
your headphones
get
into
that.
your phone. That's
Okay.
all you got to do.
There you go.
But thank you for the support. And
Yes, thank you.
if you'd like to check that out, patreon.com/Team Chat Podcast. So we did have a successful song contest where Mogan gave the hint last week of,
Without you, there is no sun in the sky.
and that game was from Okami, correctly guessed by Andrew Mogan.
Not by me.
You want to accuse me of collusion again?
No, I don't. That was just a fun joke. It was happened once, and now now we're over it and we're past it. But Bro Mogan did say that he's pretty sure the song is called "Ooh, Look How Pretty Japan Is" by Genji Shimada.
That's great.
True facts, he says. And then Dylan responded to that too by basically ripping off of making fun of a couple weeks ago when he guessed the same game right after somebody else had. So he's ripping off that joke too, saying that he's also going to go with Okami. Could be wrong, but he thinks the song might be called "Oh, Look How Pretty Japan Is." Maybe he's wrong, but is it a Genji Shimada joke? Which, if you don't get the joke, Genji Shimada is the ninja assassin hero from Overwatch. So definitely not. I guess that's kind of a redundant title.
No, not
You can
all,
also just
not
call
all
him a
assassins are
weeb.
ninjas. Not all ninjas are assassins. Yeah, weakling.
But yeah, so congratulations, Bro Mogan, for once again winning the song contest. Send us a song and hint. We'll use it in a future episode. You know the drill by now because you're so good at guessing those soundtracks. Good job. So, Dylan, stick around to the end of this episode when Dylan will be giving us a hint for correctly guessing The Last of Us a couple weeks ago. All right, so the topic of today's show, we're going back. We've done a lot of episodes recently that have been either A, focusing on a single game, giving us a review, because we've had some nice, hot, piping fresh reviews for everyone.
So delicious.
So delicious to just take in through your ear holes or your eye holes.
Some butter on it.
You made it creepy.
No, that's Paula Dean.
Paula Dean.
That's
Just
Paula
put
Dean,
some
y'all.
butter on
Here's
it.
a new review. I
Couple-
cook up.
Do a couple sticks of butter on it, and that's
We
going to
should
make it
do
real
reviews
sweet.
that way.
Make it real.
Paula Dean reviews.
That's a pretty good Paula Dean impression. That's going to make it real sweet.
But we're going back to our old format of lists, which I think the last list we did might have been anti-heroes and redemption arcs is what we were looking at.
was that a list?
Which none of us seem to remember.
That sounds like an
even.
interesting topic. I would like to hear our takes on that.
It was kind of
I
a
remember
list.
that.
We had a few examples to
Alternative
take through.
multiplayer games. That was
There we go. So yeah,
another interesting. And then favorite weapons was before that.
okay, so yeah, we've done a couple lists, but it's been a while, so we thought it was time to bring it back to the good old standard of a list episode. And what we're going to talk about today, which we've done a similar topic, but never landed exactly on this one, and that is underrated games. Those games that everybody else says, nah, skip, pass on it. It's not worth your time. But yet we've played it and been like, no, you should play it. It has some redeeming qualities. But so... yeah, man, it's been so long since we've done a list. I don't know how to start it
How
off.
did we even get into
I mean,
it?
did we
How do we jump
used to
in?
do rock, paper, scissors? Who gets to go first?
Maybe just pick somebody.
Maybe.
You just
Do we
pick
just want to
somebody.
jump in, or what was
Zach,
y'all's?
go.
Well, let me hear y'all's. Let me just hear y'all's process. Was it hard to find some games?
It really was,
For
actually.
me, it was as
It
well.
was not hard for
I had
me.
to go back too. Like these games aren't very modern.
Oh, no, I don't think either of mine are new-ish at all.
Yeah.
One is like
I had one old one.
semi-recent.
How many games did you guys get?
Oh, well, technically,
4.
one of mine is a series of 3,
Oh,
but
okay.
I'm packaging it as one.
Okay,
and then
yeah,
there's
that's
really
fine.
just one
I'll
other
allow it.
really strong good one. And then, of course, there's The Legend of Dragoon, the greatest JRPG of all time.
Yeah.
I figured we would each go about 2, depending
Yeah.
on
Two's fine.
how much
Two's
time we
fine.
have. No need to beat a dead horse.
No one wants to hear us talk all night.
Except about The Legend of Dragoon. How dare you?
One day I'll
You
just.
insult that game again.
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do about this. We're gonna to let you get your Legend of Dragoon, Legend of Zelda, all your love of all the legends.
All the legends out.
What we'll do is if we're able to take part this year in like Extra Life, something that requires us to stream for like 24 hours. I'm just
can
gonna
do
set the
Legend
camera
of
up,
Dragoon.
and I'm just gonna put Mogan in front of it,
Yeah.
and just be like, talk about these games, and just let.
I thought you were
I
just
thought we
going to
were
let me
gonna play
play
them.
I mean, you can
No,
play
we
them.
should play them. 'Cause we haven't.
We should.
You should
That'd
play
actually be really
Halo
good.
or
Oh,
whatever.
that'd be fun.
But we could also, if we need just extra time, be like, Mogan, talk about these games for a little while.
Oh,
Just
don't worry.
just
I
let
could
you
go on and
Yeah.
on.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
I need
It's a great skill
about
and
a
talent
week,
that you have there.
more or less.
Well, great, but you'd have 24 hours at least. So
thank you.
That's a good start.
I don't even think the game takes that much time. Although with its 4 discs of content, who can be sure?
Who can run out of time on 4 discs of content?
Exactly.
No one, says Mogan.
No one says I.
All right. So these underrated games that we're going to get into,
Yeah.
it was really difficult for me because I have the hard time. And I guess it actually should have made this easier, but I have it. It's very difficult for me to be like to not be able to find a silver lining of a game,
Yeah.
or be able to be like, I did not have fun playing that game.
Yeah.
There have been a few games that I have dropped that I was, but that's more. I haven't even started those yet. We're not getting into that. We're saving that for the overrated games episode, which will probably be coming up soon to follow along closely with this one. But yeah, I did kind of have to. I wanted to pick. I have one that I've talked on before. That I definitely feel like is an underrated game. People should check it out. But most of mine were actually more recent ones. I had one that was old.
Okay.
But so we'll see how it goes if I get into those, and I can mention which ones they were. So don't leave anybody hanging there in the dark. But yeah, Zach, why don't you?
Okay.
Why don't you kick us off?
I
Here?
can kick us off.
Since you were
okay.
gone last week, which
Yes.
I must say,
everyone, I'm sure,
it's great to have you back.
we're distraught.
It feels
what
good.
happened to Zach?
It feels good
Didn't
to
you
have
see all
our
the
original.
YouTube comments? They were like, "Thank God that guy is
right?
gone."
Yeah, oh, yeah. Show's much better now. That's
why we got the
That's where the
5-star
5-star
review.
review
That's
came
what.
from.
Finally, the show is like it's good.
Finally listenable.
Literally unplayable before.
Unplayable.
Could listen to a second of it. Unplayable. That's hilarious.
All right, but no, in all seriousness,
Okay.
great to have you back.
Thanks. Thanks. Okay, so we all know, right when I say this, I feel like people are going to know where I'm going. But we all know my love for Grand Theft Auto.
Oh.
It's a great game.
That is not what I thought you were going to say.
I think I know where you're going.
I thought you were going to find a way to talk about Halo, and I was going to be like, how's he going to spin this
I
one?
did think, should I send out the text being like, all right, we're not going to talk about this one. We're not gonna talk about
Halo is
this
not.
one.
Halo is perfectly.
If anything, it's
that was the
overrated.
argument. I was going to be like, how is he going to spin this?
Yeah, people don't love it enough.
Criminally underrated.
Yes, criminally. So everyone knows about my love for Grand Theft Auto. I've talked about it several times in campaign missions, I remember, and also best and worst in the series, where I famously said Grand Theft Auto 5 was the worst in the series.
Just gasping.
Everyone, all 20 listeners. Oh my gosh.
I mean, to be fair though, it's like
It's
that's still a
masterpiece.
good game. So
Oh,
it's like
it's
saying
still
worst of the
kind of a
series
masterpiece.
it's lined up against some 4 other great
and I also
games.
just compared it to 4. It was really that was it. I didn't talk about 1, 2, or 3.
Do you want me to
I did
take-
talk about 3. Never mind.
Oh, okay.
I'm derailing. Anyways, great game, great franchise, but another franchise that is very much in the same wheelhouse as Grand Theft Auto. I think people are going to know where I'm going with this.
I don't.
I'm confused now.
Saints Row.
Ooh,
Yes.
I do like Saints Row.
I like Saints Row too.
I
Now
have
I've only
never
played the first
played
one,
any of them.
and I think
I've only played the third one.
Okay, so how many has there been total now? 4?
There's 4.
Okay, so I only played the first one,
4.
which
Are
might not
these
help my argument for it being.
Xbox games?
They're both.
I think they're PlayStation and
Xbox and Wii? Oh, never
And,
mind.
and
Is that what you
PC,
mean when you say by both?
and PC too. We get these on
okay,
Steam.
okay.
So Saints Row came out mid 2000s actually for the original Xbox, I think. No, Xbox 360.
Oh.
And it was it came out for the Xbox 360. And it was a game me and my buddy were really excited for. We were obviously big fans of Grand Theft Auto, but this game was getting a lot of attention and they were doing a good job keeping the buzz up. This was like the new, not like the Grand Theft Auto killer, but it was like another version of Grand Theft Auto. And the way they kind of marketed it was, it wasn't like, so the later variations of the game, the later installments are marketed much more for their over the topness. The original one was still pretty grounded in trying to be a real, more realistic open world gangster shoot 'em up game. And I think one of the biggest differences between Grand Theft Auto and Saints Row is like just the look of it. The original Saints Row and even all of them, all of them are a bit more cartoony. Like it's a little bit lighter and less realistic than the Grand Theft Auto games, and that sort of translates into everything that Saints Row is about. Which at first glance can be a really easy target because I think I don't think it was like criminally underrated. I don't even know if like underrated it might even be a long shot. I think it has a decent following. I just think in comparison with Grand Theft Auto, it deserves at some level to stand next to it and be this other type of open world game where you're a criminal. I think what is so, but yeah, like so that cartoonist does kind of spread out, and you are a gangster, and it's much more. And I almost said like, like if you look at Grand Theft Auto, it's much more. I don't know how you would kind of compare it as like from the story perspective, because Grand Theft Auto I think deals with a lot more heavy subjects, and they try to tackle a little bit bigger questions, and they actually try to approach what it would be like to go through the criminal underworld in maybe a more meaningful way. I mean that might be a more bigger topic. I don't think 5 did it as well as 4. I'm thinking of 4 specifically did it a lot better. Saints Row is like you're a gangster and have fun being a gangster.
It really embraces the.
Yeah,
I want to be in their gang.
right. You can look at like,
these people are cool.
They
I don't know what clan that is or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, what? Yeah, there was like the Blood Clan or not the Blood.
Well, I mean, the
like
Saints
the Red Clan. The Saints is your clan.
Yeah,
and they're purple.
Oh,
You guys are
okay. I
purple.
did not know that.
Saints, and then there's like there's that clan that's red, but yeah, Grand Theft Auto totally tries to tackle, and this is another conversation, but they try to tackle going up to the criminal underworld in a more meaningful, perhaps, trying to ask bigger questions and a more, I think, trying to be a little bit more engaging with their storytelling. Saints Row doesn't necessarily, that's not their strong point. What is their strong point is they kind of know who they are, and they're okay with that. And they're like, we are this sort of different variation of this type of game, so let's embrace being a little bit over the top. Let's embrace like gangster culture. Let's embrace a little bit more tongue-in-cheek throughout the whole game. And that is not going to be everyone's taste. And I mean, that's why Grand Theft Auto, I think, it remains king in this realm. I mean, Saints Row will always have a hard job of standing next to Grand Theft Auto, and I think Grand Theft Auto will always remain supreme. Saints Row is totally, and they realized that once they went through the later variations in the franchise, they sort of kept embellishing the ludicrousness of it.
If you look at it, Saints Row
swords and like just ridiculousness.
I mean, let's be fair. They fully embraced ridiculousness when in Saints Row 3 you can kill people by beating them up with a huge purple dildo.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
and
that
you can
series.
Be naked.
Yeah, you can be naked.
Which
I made my character incredibly bulked up.
Yeah, you can. Which is like
just to be. I normally don't play around with character creation that much. Like I make a good looking character and all that stuff. And this one I could tell. I was like, this game's going to be a little ridiculous. I'm going to make a ridiculous character.
Yeah,
and I made this guy be incredibly muscled up. Gave him like this British accent, not like a refined British accent, but just
like a Cockney accent,
closer to a Cockney accent. And ran around. Purple dildo was my favorite weapon.
It's hilarious. So like that's a good example, and like that's something that you can like dissect within the series. At the point where they like realized, okay, we're not going to be like Grand Theft Auto. We're going to be, because in the first one that you can't have purple dildos, you can't fight spaceship or aliens, you can't do all this insanity that you can do in the later installments. So I think at one point they really did want to take themselves seriously as like an underworld game, but I think it was to their advantage to go in that other direction. Because I never bought those games, but I have played them before, and they're just ridiculously fun.
That's what attracted me to Saints Row 3. I can't remember exactly what made me want to buy it, but once I started it and figured out what it was, I think because I really was looking for another game like Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
And then when I did start playing it, I was like, oh.
Yeah,
I see where this is different, and I like it.
Sure, and that's an interesting thing to contemplate too. It's like why did you want something other than Grand Theft Auto? You think Grand Theft Auto would have it all? Like it's the best open world game, but there is something that Saints Row offers that Grand Theft Auto does not.
I think the closest thing that you can say to like compare the two, Saints Row is in its core what Grand Theft Auto Online is becoming.
Yeah, you're right. Because Grand Theft Auto Online is not Grand Theft Auto Campaign. Grand Theft Auto Online is just ridiculous.
It's mayhem.
It's mayhem. And Saints Row totally embraces that. And they kind of feed that inner longing to just do whatever you want and like go into many places as you want. And Grand Theft Auto has limitations because they, for better or for worse, are more realistic. And they have to, abide by the rules of the reality as best they can because they want to make a realistic game. And
you can't drive a tank down the middle of the street and blow up stuff because that's a side like a mini game side quest thing in Saints Row 3 is you drive a tank down the street and you're. I mean, I know there might be a part.
You can in Grand Theft Auto like 3. I don't know if you could do it in 4, but yeah. Like,
but this one is all about just you drive it down the street and see how much shit you can blow up in a certain amount of time.
Exactly. It's about disaster. It's about destruction, and that's really the point of the focus rather than like making difficult decisions or like meeting certain types of characters. Which Saints Row has a very colorful cast of characters. It doesn't disappoint on that end. I think there's one mission in particular that I always remember where I think you can actually do this throughout the game. You have to commit insurance fraud, and you have to basically run into the street. And you hit a button and your body goes limp, and as the cars like you get like hit like a ping pong ball or like a pinball ball around in the street by all these cars, and the money just racks up. That's a great example, and that you won't find that in Grand Theft Auto.
That's really funny
because they're definitely embracing like let's have fun with this.
Insurance fraud, the most heinous of crimes.
Right, I know, but you can make some quick cash that way.
Yeah, that's a good way to make some money.
And it's also like I mean that's gonna be the biggest difference, but there's a lot of similarities that actually is a good thing, like the gunplay and the vehicle driving and the kind of gang violence that you encounter is actually done really well. Like the amount of weapons you can have. And I used to play online. They had an online way to play the game. God, I'm like, this bring me back. I used to play online, and the multiplayer wasn't that bad. You had like snipers and like pistols, and it was just it wasn't like a terrible game. And I think it's devalued because of Grand Theft Auto, where it should stand more on its own terms, which I think it
looks as like the ripoff of Grand Theft Auto as opposed to just
at some level
a mayhem-based sandbox game.
Yeah, I think as they've more games have come out, they've been able to establish themselves as not like a Grand Theft Auto knockoff, though. But the first one was definitely. This looks like a Grand Theft Auto knockoff, which I was excited about. I was like, hey, it's different people trying to make Grand Theft Auto. It's got to be somewhat good. I'm interested. I'm very interested. So yeah, Saints Row and. God, I remember, I don't know. I go on about like making my character, and you have the same kind of customization with the clothes and like your appearance, and he's in the.
I do know one difference is you can increase if. It might be reversed if you're female. I didn't play as a female character, but as the male character, you can increase your package size.
Oh, very important.
Yes. So I'm assuming as a female character, you can increase your boob size.
Surely that is the case. Surely the classic boob slider, everyone's favorite.
But this one incorporated the penis slider.
There you go. There needs to be more of that in game.
Equality.
Every game should have.
But no, I also have Saints Row 4 and its DLC that it came out with, which again embraces its mayhem. The DLC is Gat Out of Hell because one of the main characters in at least in 2 and 3, Johnny Gat. In the beginning of 3, he's killed, and so in this one, Gat Out of Hell is you're literally getting Johnny Gat out of hell.
There you go.
And
it's amazing,
and it's like a musical too.
It's a musical.
It's great.
I've seen in the trailers and stuff like the devil is singing to his daughter who's like falling in love with Johnny Gat. So it's crazy ridiculous.
And it was not like that in the first one. They really amped it up.
I think they probably found where they needed to be, their niche with
we
it.
gotta go this way.
Like, we got to do this because Grand Theft Auto, we're not going to be able to do that.
No, they can't do what GTA does.
So
and you know, not to. I think I'm just trying to make a good argument for Saints Row. I think Grand Theft Auto is a much better game.
Yeah.
But that's why Saints Row is in the underrated episode.
Exactly.
Not the best, just underrated.
That's all I'm saying.
You should give it a shot.
You should give it a shot.
That's the big thing we're saying with all these games. Is you should give them a shot.
Even though it's not Grand Theft Auto, you're going to have a lot of fun with that game.
There you go.
For sure.
All right.
Yeah.
You guys ready for a radically different tangent than that?
Sure.
Yes.
How familiar are you with the Drawn series?
Oh, I'm
Sounds like
games
a
in the world.
Favorite, right?
That's my number
Dude,
one.
tell me about it. Which one?
Well, there's
Which one's
Drawn, which is where
game.
you pick up a pencil and you start drawing.
And it's on your Nintendo DS.
No, it's on pen and paper. It's physical.
Oh, it's not a video game.
No,
I'm afraid it's not either of those. It's
where you-
real life,
It's where you
guys.
take a pen and paper
And you place it on
and you
paper.
hold it in front of you. I used to do this as a child,
I know this game well.
and so I'm very familiar with the drawing.
Oh, okay,
series.
of course.
You start drawing like a battle scene. Like there's a hill over here, and you draw little stick figure army dudes on this side, and then there's a plain over here, and you start like a flat grassland plain, not aerial.
Okay, sure.
Anyway, and you just start drawing this battle scene out. So that's drawn. Right?
That's drawn.
Yeah, no,
That's what it is.
What's yours, Jerrett? What's yours? God.
That's a good game. I like it.
I like it.
Good game.
Thanks for
10
bringing
out
back
of
the
10.
memories, Mogan.
Underrated. No,
Underrated.
So
Reading.
the Drawn series falls into the much sneered upon category of casual games.
Okay.
So, first of all, I would like to
Spit on
say,
casual
yeah,
games.
exactly. A lot of people do, and part of this whole entry into the series is my deep internal rage at all of the hate that casual games often get, because they're just, by and large, as a whole, they are undervalued by most of the gaming community, which is really weird because they can make a crap ton of money, and for a lot of people, they're really, really fun. So the Drawn series, yes, that's the one. So that's the first installment. That is
Actually looks
Drawn.
cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. So
Yeah.
that's part of what we're going to
Doesn't
talk
look
about.
like stick figures.
No, that does not look like what I thought it looked like.
I think there actually are at least one stick figure. I think there's a stick figure man, actually. Now that I think about it, I think he's one of the
knew they
characters.
were in there.
Yeah, you weren't far off. You weren't
knew
far
it.
off. But anyway, so that was the first one in a three-part series.
Yeah.
Available back in the day exclusively through ye old Big Fish games. Did either of you ever have Big Fish games?
remember Big
Oh my
Fish
God.
games.
This would have been back when we had like a main home computer
Yeah.
and none of us had like our own laptops. Nobody had their smartphones. This had to be early 2000s.
Okay.
And then the Drawn series came along, I want to say in probably 2007. And this was when I still paid for my... Drink's making a lot of noise. This was when I still paid for my Big Fish Games monthly subscription service, where you would
wow.
like get a free game every month. It was basically PlayStation Network, but through Big
Yeah.
Fish. And they really still kind of are kings of casual gaming. Like that's where a bunch of stuff like Temple Run and games akin to Candy Crush, you would
Yeah.
find all of those there. Drawn was notably different because it was much more of a fleshed out puzzle adventure series. So the setup is like classic point and click adventure. So you're basically just progressing through these flat 2D levels at just really like a straight line, a straight plane. But through those, obviously the title, Drawn, the Painted Tower, is very much indicative of what the game is going to be like. It's all about art. Like the game extols the values of art, and it's like, art will save the world from the darkness that is closing in around us. And it's like, yeah, it will. Art for president. So you are basically playing a unnamed and unseen protagonist, the Stranger. And you basically just show up in this mysterious tower, and there's a stone butler. And he's like, oh, thank goodness you're here. You must help us, blah, blah, blah. The point of the whole story is Iris is the last of a royal family who have the magical ability to bring anything to life that they paint. So the whole point of the game is she can basically save the world from the bad guy. I don't know what his name is. He's just bad. He's like an evil shadow. By basically painting reality all around her. And the dynamic in the game that makes this really fun is that it actually has, the main overworld has a very dark overtone. Like it's storming outside the whole game. The tower itself is gray and dark and there's no real light anywhere. It's falling apart, like the ceilings are leaking. But then part of the big gameplay is as you progress, you make progress through this puzzle of towers, or this tower of puzzles, by kind of Mario 64-esking jumping into paintings that she has left behind.
Nice.
So Iris has left behind all of these beautiful paintings, and they are all their own micro worlds because they're all alive. Like Harry Potter almost,
Yeah.
but you can jump
Very
into
magical.
them. Yes, it's very magical. So when you jump into each of these paintings, because they've been drawn by a little girl, they're super vibrant, ultra colorful. They all have like really fun soundtracks to go along with them. And then when you come back out into the main tower, into the real world, it's dark, it's gray, all the soul is sucked out of the world. Yeah, it's like the Matrix. And you're just like, oh man, we have to bring all the light and color back to the world. I have to find Iris. So the whole first game is really just you progressing up the tower in this way. That was quite a meow.
That's what he does.
Henry is having a time out there, our producer. But anyways, so the second game is really more of the same, and arguably so is the third. They are really all, you could probably play them back to back to back and feel like it was just one game, which I think is to its credit, because actually the biggest complaint against the first game, really kind of all of them as standalones, is that they're short. So as a casual game, it's not long. It's not going to take you a billion hours. Really, if you sat down and played it through, you could easily finish each one in one night on its own. I remember I spaced them out a lot. Like I would do like a couple of puzzles and levels, and then I would stop and then drag it out for the next one, because I wanted to get my money's worth.
Right.
I had paid for that subscription. But now you can get these games in like collections for close to no dollars. So if you're just looking for a super fun, short game that is very, very vibrant and beautiful, and actually has a surprisingly good soundtrack, Drawn is a really good choice.
Cool.
You actually get to do all of these really fun little puzzles, and most of which are about painting, drawing, that kind of stuff. So for the art kid in all of us, probably not you, Jerrett, but Zach, the art kid in all of us.
Sorry, it's artistic.
You're very artistic.
Yeah, we're all creative.
We're all creative.
Everyone's a winner.
Participation trophies
So this
all
is
around.
for what? Windows, Mac, iOS. It's for iOS?
Now it is. So it wasn't
I can see that
originally.
being a really good
When
iOS
yes, when I first played it, it was only for Windows, I think. Mac and iOS are definitely newer, and I feel like iOS is the newest of those. I think they put
that
like
makes
the
sense.
collections on iOS. So they're actually really fun, small games, and really they're criminally underrated, because it really is. The production value of this little point and click adventure is actually really good. Like they are good looking games. And even though most of it is mostly 2D, beautifully rendered, painted backgrounds, there are certain parts that are animated, and when the animations do occur, they're beautiful. Like, they are really good looking animations, and you're just like, oh, the Phoenix is real. It's like, yes, it is. It's real inside of you.
That's all that matters.
It's all that matters. And it does feature a good amount of really colorful voice acting. So like the Stone Butler, for example, he's one of the ones that has a lot of really good voice acting behind him, and some of the smaller characters do to a certain extent.
Nice.
So Drawn, the Painted Tower, Drawn Dark Flight, which is the second one, and Drawn Trail of Shadows.
Ooh,
Those are the
that
3.
sounds mysterious.
Yeah, I
Dark.
forget what happened in Trail of Shadows. Yeah. But actually, for all of the games, they really do have that overbearing tone of evil out in the world that you have to fight against. So it's very, very motivating.
Nice.
So the Drawn series, 10 out of 10.
That's a perfect game.
7 out of 10.
A very big thumbs
Excuse
up,
me.
so we say.
Man.
It's not for everybody, but for those who enjoy that kind of gaming, it's a
pretty
very
good.
solid experience.
I mean, is it one that you can like pick up and play for a few minutes and then be like
Yeah,
done?
you can just play a few minutes, play a couple of puzzles, and then move on to something else, come back to it later. Very easily.
Yeah, that's a good game to always keep. I mean, it's
Yeah.
good that they're now on the phone because that's like the
Yeah.
perfect phone game. That's what I want in a mobile game. Is just
Yeah.
something
I
I
don't know
can pick it
if
up,
they're
play
for
it.
Android. Probably
Might not
not. Yeah, I don't think so. I would actually replay them though.
Really?
Like I played this series a long time ago, but I think about it quite a bit. We've never talked about it because it's not
No, we
the
never have.
type of stuff we normally
Right.
talk about. But I loved that series when I was playing it. When I started, there wasn't even a second and third. So like when the next one came out, I was like, oh, there's another one. I was really genuinely excited about it.
Nice.
So I think it is something that you could really enjoy.
Very cool. Very cool.
I'm gonna see if I can buy it right now.
Just gonna just make that purchase on
Purchasing
live.
at the moment.
Like currently.
Can you hit the camera real quick?
You sure can. Also available for Android.
Well, what do you know?
We all got this
the
right
full
now.
game is only $2.99.
Oh, that's not
Wow.
bad
You
at
can buy it
all.
for $2. That's just the first one, but
Is
you
it
can buy it for
worth
only
it?
$2. Yes, that's worth
$2.
That's what she's saying.
Is it
She's
$2?
saying
Let's see
French
you-
it's worth it.
let's see
fries
you
are
buy
more
it, Jerrett.
expensive
Oh, I
than
don't have room
that.
on my phone
Oh,
for
I
that.
forgot my
Also,
password.
Jerrett doesn't like puzzles.
I like puzzles. I have to be in the right mood
They
for
are
puzzles.
easy puzzles. I will tell you, they're
Like
not
I had to be in the mood to
Damn
play
puzzles.
Portal when I finally played Portal.
These
I had to
are
be,
not
I had to be
like-
ready for it. I know
No.
Portal was great.
That's a great game. All right, how do I even
Nah,
get
it's
on?
overrated.
Nah, that's yeah. Speaking of overrated,
Just kidding.
Beat you, but look at that.
Oh,
Beautiful,
that is
really nice.
Beautiful background.
get this.
That's
If it's
one of-
only $2,
It's only $2.
art. What is it called?
Drawn,
You're
not
even
art.
paying
Oh,
attention.
I wasn't.
Drawn.
Drawn.
It's an
Hey,
art.
look at the
Paying attention.
reviews. 4.8, 4.8, 4.4. People
Well,
love
there
this
we
game.
go. There we go. Everyone, drawn.
All 309 of us.
That's a lot.
In the scope of gaming, but yeah, it's a fantastic series.
All right. So my first game that I was going to talk about that I think is underrated. I'm not going to harp on it for too long because I've talked about this game before, but I'm just going to make a quick, brief argument for why people need to play this game again or for the first time. The Order 1886. Now, so, the background of it, Victorian era London. There's you are a member of an ancient order. Really, it's the Knights of the Round Table. You are Sir Galahad.
You're all about those ancient orders.
That's what
That's
Jerrett
like
likes
right
it for.
into your
I like it.
wheelhouse.
I will admit, I love that kind of shit.
Yes, I admit.
And then you fight in this order, and there's been a uprising of lichens, werewolves, as they're also called,
Lichens?
lichens.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it.
I don't think so.
Yeah, it
Underworld
is.
says lichen, and I'm
it-
going by.
Underworld's right.
So, well,
I'm
that's
going
because
by
they have
Underworld.
British accents.
Yeah, but
We're American.
Good
So,
point.
so we're wrong. In other words, because it should be lichen.
No, we are correct.
I like it.
But the big thing about this game and why people panned it so much is that
Short?
it was short.
Yeah.
The gameplay wasn't that great, and it was $60.
You're not making a good case for it yet.
Well, but now hear me out. Here's
Drawn is only $2.99 and it's amazing.
here's why I beg to differ. I played this game having already known all of these knocks against it
Yeah,
that people
yeah.
were making. But, and I will say this, I waited till it was on sale to buy it.
Nice, good move.
Yeah.
And so really, if you do that, which now it's real cheap, you can find it for pretty cheap now all the time, all over, because it's a couple years old now. But it's a great game for what it's trying to be. And I think the problem is with this game of why it became kind of, critically railed against is because people saw the trailers, people saw the gameplay footage that came out, and they were expecting another Gears of War type game.
Yeah.
Really?
Or
Gears of War?
it's third person duck and cover shooter game, which is what, Gears of War is. Not as crazy and violent as Gears of War is, but the same style.
If we were doing another review based on just the cover of a game, that is not even close to what I would have guessed the Order 1886 would be like.
Well, because it's not.
Yeah. Well,
and I think,
good to know I'm
and
correct.
So that's why. But I think that's what people saw, and they saw the same type of gameplay and gunplay and things like that, and they thought that's what this game was going to be like. Not identical to, but like. But what it really is a cinematic adventure that you play through. It does have gunplay, which the gunplay is very basic. Go to cover point, pop over, shoot enemies, duck, reload. Pop over, shoot enemies, duck, reload.
Do you have like old timey pistols?
Yeah,
You
must,
do,
right?
which I thought was another great selling point of the game. The weapons were awesome.
cool, yeah, it
You
does
did
sound
have
cool.
you did have old style pistols. You had old style rifles, but then you also had like this one. Oh, the name of it is escaping me, but it would shoot out a flammable substance, but not on fire. It would shoot it out, and then you would fire a secondary fire to ignite it. So you could set this like huge area on fire. There was also a Tesla gun that would shoot a bolt of electricity.
That sounds
and all this.
Always a must.
Yeah,
What kind of
That's
good
what
game?
he's saying.
Yeah.
Listen
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's a good game.
Yes.
And so it had all
gun.
these fun things in it. But the high selling point is the quality of the production. Again, I've gone through this again before, so I'm not going to stay on it for too long. But the graphic quality of this game, superb. The facial animations, superb. The voice acting, superb. But it is, yes, it's a short game. Like, I mean, less than 20 hours. Like,
I heard
it's
8
like
to 10.
Like
I
8 to
just
10.
remember why. I don't know why.
8 to 10, I think, is where it sits
forever.
around. 15 if you die a lot.
Like your boy.
I did die a lot, but it was
Go the wrong
it
way,
did have a
Dark
really
Souls.
great, like, interesting backstory to it and a lore that it was building on its own that was separate from similar things like Underworld.
Yeah.
where it does have these two ancient orders, and it is that again, but it builds on it in its own unique way. But yeah, the gameplay was there were cutscenes. The cutscenes were long, but again, excellently rendered, excellently done.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of things took place in quick time events, so hitting specific buttons at specific points to trigger a result. But overall, I was very happy with my gameplay experience of this game. I understood the complaints and I understood the knocks that the game were given. I really think that the developers and publishers should have made a bigger point to say what it was going to be like. It also probably wouldn't have hurt it to maybe make it a $40 game as opposed to a $60 game.
Yeah. I mean, for
Because
that
it didn't
amount
have
of
it doesn't have
time.
multiplayer. It's campaign
It's a limited
only.
game.
And because of how the story is, it doesn't have much replayability.
Yeah.
I'm going to replay it again because I'm trying to get the platinum. I'm getting very close to the platinum. I think I'm like 79%. So I'm like,
I'm at
I need a platinum.
95%.
Really?
No.
Because I'm pretty sure you haven't even played it.
I'll play the Order and you play Uncharted, and
Okay.
we'll
How
compare
about that?
notes.
All right.
There you
Sounds
go.
good to me. I do need to do that.
Wait, was Order for
The
PS4,
deal is
right?
done.
Yes,
So-
it was a
okay,
PS4
gotcha.
exclusive.
Okay.
And so ultimately, all those things combined, I think, yes, the developer could have represented it better of what the final experience was going to be. Because at gameplay things and stuff like that people played, they played the shooting parts. They played the fighting of the enemies, which also, you fought against these rebels or rioters and stuff like that who weren't very good in terms of they weren't equally matched to you in their skill with the weaponry.
Were they way worse?
I mean, they're just, they were like, in the game, they're like commons people who rose up and like having the rebels, basically. But there were a couple of really good parts. Like, I remember this one mission you're fighting and it's taking place across a bridge because they raided the House of Parliament, I believe. And you're having to push them back across a bridge. And that level was really good. Another one takes place in a huge Zeppelin. You're trying to find an
that's cool.
assassin.
Everybody loves Zeppelins.
So that was a
yeah.
really great level too. I just think
Look at some
what kind of
screenshots,
what kind of doomed this game in a way is because people saw it, they thought they knew what it was going to be. The game came out and it wasn't that.
And as we
got 5
know,
out of 10 for
mismatched
Exactly.
expectations can just destroy a game.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so
For
true.
what may or may not be any good reason.
Yeah.
and this
Yes,
is
and
a
we talked
world
about
and
that.
it has a lore and backstory that would be awesome to have
good-looking
a
game.
2. It's an excellent looking
Yeah,
game.
it really is.
I would love to
That's
have
the
the
game that I
Order 2.
keep thinking Jeff Goldblum is in.
Yeah,
And
why
I
do
know
you
he's
think that?
not.
He's not.
I know,
but
it's the Call of Duty
I think he
trailer.
It's
is.
one of the
Something
it's one of the Call of Duty zombie modes that he's in.
Very easy to mix up.
I don't know why. But no, so the Order 1886, again, give it a shot.
Underrated.
I'm pretty sure I got it for $10 on sale.
Oh, wow, that's
you can
nothing.
probably get it cheaper now for when it goes on sale. So pick up the order, give it a shot, because I do think it is a criminally underrated game.
All right.
Criminally.
Just understand what it is going in.
There you go.
Not much. No, I'm
Not
sure.
burn.
So why don't we go ahead and take a break and do our moment with Mogan before
Right
we get into
on, right
before we
on.
get into our next round of
Okay,
games.
Let me find my notes. Okay, so coming up here in just a little bit, we do have April 18th, the Disney Afternoon Collection, which we talked about last time and nobody cares about. The Full Throttle Remastered
Yeah.
Edition is coming to PS4 April 18th as well.
It also comes to Vita, which I think
Oh,
is
really?
that's where I'll play
Oh,
it.
Wait,
That's
is Full
fun.
Throttle that game?
It's the motorcycle
Motorcycle
game.
motorcycle
That's
game.
Yeah.
hilarious.
Point and click
that
adventure.
They were remaking that.
It's going to be good.
That's very funny.
We do have a Guardians of the Galaxy Episode 1, Tangled Up.
game?
Yes, Tangled Up in Blue, coming to virtually everything except the Wii, Switch, U. You get the idea. April 18th as well. Then a little bit later on, we have Micro Machines World Series for PS1 and for PS4
About to
and
say.
Xbox One, April 21st.
Bringing it back to old school.
One that people are actually really excited about, Dragon Quest Heroes 2. So this is, for fans of the Dragon Quest series, they're really psyched about it. That's PS4, April 25th. And then one that I'm actually really excited about and that I feel like we should all play, even though it's not really the season for it, Outlast 2 is coming for
that's too
PS4,
scary.
Xbox
Too
One,
scary.
and PC April 25th as
do it.
well.
We should play it so we could save it for our horror game installment later on around Halloween.
And are you ready for the dark horse that nobody saw coming, but everybody is finally getting? Siberia 3.
Oh,
Really?
Really? It's actually happening.
Siberia 3 has been in the works for,
Years.
You know why?
it might be over a decade.
Because we've been talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're like, okay,
we brought it. I
people
was
We
like,
brought
hey,
Siberia
Walker,
back.
Yeah.
We brought Siberia back.
She-
TCP.
she's a lawyer doing stuff. I don't know what kind of stuff. It's hard. But PS4, Xbox One, and the Switch. Question mark?
Wow.
I'm not sure
Oh.
if that's like, I'm suspicious about that one. But
Yeah.
supposedly that game is also coming out April 25th. So if it does, I'm actually really excited about it. I would get that one, Siberia 3. I did play the first game. I actually think I skipped the second game because it was too hard, but I watched my mom play it, so it counts.
Same.
I
There
was
you go.
basically there. So yeah.
Early version of
and
Twitch.
then as far as the games coming out, that's about all of it. And then for those of you who are still playing Overwatch, they are doing their new temporary game event. There we go. I couldn't find the word for it. Event all about the old-timey Omnic Crisis from back when all of the Overwatch people were young, Tracer was adorable, Reinhardt was a little less old, etc. They've actually got a bunch of really great skins out for a lot of the characters. Yes, some good ones. What do you think about the new Genji skin?
Oh, I love it.
Oh, I hate it.
Really?
I think it's so ugly.
I love it
do
so
not
much.
Like it. I would
all
take
black
young,
with like
oh,
it's awesome because it's like because of the skins that you have in Overwatch for Genji so far, it's him either full cyborg
Yeah,
or full
or
human.
young
This
Genji.
one he's fused.
he's like Raiden.
Yeah, is
from-
that him
yeah.
right there?
No, that's
No,
the
no, no,
only
that's
skin that
the
you could get by
only
That's a
playing.
cool one.
That one's
Yeah.
cool too, but I
Yeah.
couldn't get it. That's it.
Oh.
Come on now, that's badass.
that is
Actually, I
pretty
really
cool.
love the new skin for Widow they have, where it's
That
like
one's
young
cool.
Widow before her skin was purple. It's really cool, and she's got like a short ponytail. It's adorable.
I like the McCree one too.
Yeah, is
Actually,
that
I
the,
love-
what is black? So what is Black?
Blackwatch, I think,
Blackwatch,
is like
the bad guys.
yeah.
Oh no, wait, were they just like the special task force?
I'm not totally
I
sure
think
on that
Blackwatch
Overwatch
may
lore.
have just been like a special task force or something.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm not really sure either.
I need to go
I'm
back.
afraid
I need to go.
don't read
I
the
need to go.
comics.
Yeah, I need to go freshen up on the comics.
Yeah. Tracer and Mercy's new skins are freaking adorable.
Well,
though.
and Torbjorn has one too, and because it's like they're the Overwatch crew, so they look
Yeah.
more like soldiery and stuff.
Exactly.
Not,
Like they all kind of have like a matching theme. Like
Yeah.
it looks like they're almost in uniform because it was back in the day when they were a team and
well, so that's what I'm thinking. Yeah. They're all team.
Yeah.
Never mind.
And,
They're not supposed to
they
be
do
separate, 'cause
also
they're
have-
separate now because it's Talos or
Yes.
and all that
Those
stuff.
are the bad guys.
Yeah.
Widow, Reaper, Sombra, blah blah blah.
Right. But no, so the Overwatch event does look like it's got a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
And I do want to get some time to play it before it goes away.
It's gonna be nice.
Overwatch is not my main game anymore. Moved on to other
Well,
things.
honestly,
Yeah.
neither is mine. It's Breath of the Wild.
Right.
But every
Yeah,
now
that's
and then
my
I got to
main-
give my eyes a rest.
yeah.
That's my main hustle right now.
It's
is
getting
Breath
close
of the
to it.
Wild.
It's getting close to its year.
Overwatch is, yeah.
May,
no
early
doubt.
May.
My
Yeah.
biggest hope
That's
is
big-
that they will do a year anniversary event
And, like, give
where
all
they
the things
allow you to purchase old item events old event items that you missed from past
Ooh,
events.
that'd be cool.
I really hope they do, because like a lot of people that adopted the game later on
Missed.
they just missed
Yeah.
out.
That's a
Which I
good
mean,
point.
that's the downfall of not jumping on that bandwagon early when you knew the hype was coming.
That was a
and you
great
knew the hype
summer.
was
This
coming.
I
is
played
one
a
of the
lot of
very
Overwatch
last
few
season. I played
games that
so
I
much
bought
Overwatch. That was a
at
fun
launch.
summer.
Yeah.
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 We all three bought it at launch.
I know, and I was like super hesitant about it. I'm like, I've
was
heard
like,
of this
dude,
game.
play it.
Yeah, and you were like, you gotta try it.
You gotta
And I was
play it,
like,
dude.
and then
Criminally underrated.
Everyone got it. Yeah. Speaking of which, my number one.
Great. So is there any more to the
That was about it.
cool? I feel like
Oh, no, wait, there was more. Did you hear that they are getting that much closer to Xbox and PS4 cross-platform gaming?
ooh no. I heard some other
They-
Xbox
Really?
news.
It's like more official now. They are basically planning in the near future. I think the first game that they're going to launch for cross-console play is going to be they're just retooling Rocket League.
Oh, that
to
makes
where
sense.
yeah, to where
Cool.
PS4 and
I think
Xbox.
that's always been the game that's been like in conversation.
You
around
could
it.
do it for PC and PS4 already, but now
Okay.
it's going to be the consoles together. Because
Oh, very
PC
cool.
just needs to go to the side. Everybody just
Yeah.
needs to push that over to the
Know your
side.
place.
Know your place.
Stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane. And then some of the others they're banding around as being the next up will be the next Call of Duty that's
That would
coming
make
out
sense.
later this year. They think that that might be one of the cross-platforming ones. And then what's
I don't know
that?
how much it's gonna affect me. Really.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I don't really. If it were me, I'd be like, "Hooray!
I mean,
Switch to PS4."
Yeah.
If anything, it's gonna what it'll do is it just makes it easier to find games because you're not the number of players will double if not triple.
Yeah, I mean,
for
I
these
feel like
games.
it will open up a lot.
Downside is there's probably gonna be a lot of hiccups early on.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
certainly. That's why they're
true.
only doing like one game at first, and then I think they also talked a little bit about doing the Division for.
I could see the Division being a good one for that.
I don't think it'll help it, but yeah,
It's funny that game's still going. Like people.
It is. It keeps getting more content.
Yeah, more
It
content.
keeps popping up. I still follow its subreddit because it's one that every once in a while, like after a time, like and now might be actually a good time to do it. Same with it and Destiny. I
Yeah.
might pop back
Destiny
into those.
2 comes out.
Destiny 2, which
Oh, not for a while,
gotta
maybe
say
actually.
it, I can't help myself.
Yeah, you excited? Well, they have a. When's the
little
trailer
excited.
come out? Like a week?
No, it's already come out. They've released the reveal trailer, which shows
Oh,
that
really?
like the last city is overrun, and destroyed by the Cabal,
they
and so
released that?
and so that's how they kind of. Without staying on this too long, but that's how because a lot of people got pissed off. They're like, oh, wait, so Destiny 2 is going to come around and we're not going to be able to keep any of our gear, which I was like, that's what you get for grinding for so long. But so I'm like, okay, that's fine. I don't care.
When does Destiny 2 come out?
September, I think.
Okay.
Fall. And but anyway, so they say that so they get around that and explain why that is in this trailer. It was very obvious that's what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
The city gets destroyed and Cade, Nathan Fillion, Cade 6, Nathan
Yeah.
Fillion's character basically is just like, they destroyed everything. All of our guns, all of our loot, and blah, blah, blah.
Oh,
Like,
I
very,
saw that.
makes a very
Hilarious.
pointed point
Yeah.
to say, your shit's gone.
Yeah. Sorry.
And so you're going to
That's
have to start
funny.
over.
Yeah.
But it does look like it's going to be, already some new enemies coming in that you can see some like up, some of the old enemies, but also some new ones. And, I don't know. Destiny 1 was great for all the time I played it. Obviously, we had its issues that we talked about.
Yeah.
But, like if they came out saying Division 2, no, hard pass.
Well,
but if they
that's-
said but Destiny 2, I'll probably give it a shot.
it's an interesting segue because my number one underrated game is The Division.
Really?
I'm just kidding. It is
That'd
totally
be
not.
hilarious.
I don't know this.
That would be
Secretly played it all.
Secretly, I've been here been here all along.
Yeah.
that could be an
Sombra
overrated
jokes.
game.
No, you
That is a
probably
good
don't.
one.
Yeah.
I know that one. I know
Do you?
Sombra.
I don't know how long it's been since you
Boop.
last played. Boop.
Is that Sombra's?
That's Sombra.
Yes.
She's like a little
gives
taunt.
people a little boop.
Boop.
Love you.
It's hilarious. Sombra's great.
All right. Well, let's wrap up really quick here and go through our next round. We'll
Okay.
we'll just stick to two games
That's
this time.
fine. And I won't harp too long.
Oh, that's fine. You can harp on.
Well, chop then.
Well, there's okay.
Get into
There's
it.
actually,
We're starting
it's actually
now.
one more game.
It's actually a game that you can't really harp on that long, anyways. But this is a great time for me to bring it up. It's a game I've always wanted to talk about on the show. It's one of my favorite games of all time.
I think I know what it's going to be because
I don't-
I thought about talking about it.
No, there's no way. There's
I think
no
I did.
way. There's no way. So I love racing games.
Oh,
Still on track. I love racing games. So my favorite is Project Gotham Racing. Rockstar presents Midnight Club. The Forza series. I've played probably 4 or 5 of them. Like Need for Speed. Racing games are like sort of my subgenre of games that I play like just on the side, but I always kind of keep up to date with the racing games. But this game came out for PlayStation 2. No, there's no way. Have we talked about this game before?
I think so.
I think maybe we have.
We talked about like how much we've each played it. Oh, the anticipation is killing me.
And this game was sort of more of an off-road type of racing game. That's so funny. And it had more to do with what I remember about it. The game's called Smuggler's Run.
Yes!
So we have talked about Smuggler's Run.
We've talked about that we each played it. I didn't play it a whole lot, but I definitely looked it up today to talk about it.
That's
is that
funny.
on your list?
No, it wasn't on my list.
But you were
I was thinking about it, but I was like, I don't know enough
I don't
to be
know
able
if it's
to
underrated either.
see that, and that's kind of what made me put it off. Is like I never heard about it from anybody.
That's the thing.
But I think the people who played it liked it.
Exactly.
So-
It's one of those games that I'm hesitant to say go back and play because it's been a while. It's PlayStation 2. It's been over 10 years since it came out. That being said, it was I feel bad if you missed out on it because especially if you love racing games and especially if you love flying cars with physics and great like action that happens in the desert.
It was more off-road vehicles.
It was all
than-
off-road.
Yeah.
What as I remember, dune buggies,
Dirt bikes.
dirt bikes. I think they had an armored vehicle in there somewhere. But really, the main thing that I remember, and I don't know why. Well, I guess I do know why, but there was something about Smuggler's Run that there's been other off-road games which are fun, and they sort of have those same physics down. But usually, you're on a racetrack or you're actually doing a race. What I remember from Smuggler's Run, and me and my buddy doing this all the time, we do split screen mode, and we'd be each be in our dune buggies, and there'd be like 8 other computer dune buggies. And the thing that I remember the most is we'd go on this big open track. And so it was made by Rockstar, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah, so Rockstar made this game.
Or a studio that became Rockstar.
Or a studio that became
It's
Rockstar.
the studio
San
now.
Diego.
I was looking at this today. Yeah,
it's the
the
San
studio
Diego one.
became Rockstar San Diego.
That's right. You're right. So maybe that was the same team. I don't know. They had this similar. It has like it's an open space where you can race and do this particular game type, which was basically it's not tag, but it was the kind of the first person to get to point A gets that whatever's there. It's like a point, and then another point will spawn up way on the other side of the map, and you have to get over there.
That's
And
fun.
I love the open world aspect of
So
these.
there's no like defined track.
There's no defined track.
That's
and
fun.
So I have like memories of kind of being in the group and we're all like, again, the physics are great. You're kind of flying up and down on these hills. You're in these black dune buggies and it's all about like, you're this criminal, even though I don't really remember like what you're doing.
Yeah.
I think it's just fun mini game stuff. But I have these images of like flying through the air and another dune buggy might go on over top of me and I'll take a right and go through like a canyon to get down there maybe quicker. And doing this with my buddy was like one of the most memorable video gaming moments I've had with any game, really. I mean, in racing games, I think span across, you can get a lot of different emotions out of a racing game, especially if you're playing with friends. A lot of it can come down to like split-second decisions or cornering, but this one really takes the cake for just pure adrenaline of trying to get to that place first before your friend and doing whatever it takes to get there. I mean, it was really, you can like knock them over, you can make them roll down the hill, and it's just pretty simple.
Did you have like
game.
an arsenal or was it mostly just bugs?
I think it pretty much was just cars.
Just a
like
car.
I
See,
think
I
just
like
your
that.
racing.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
really
I don't think
you had guns or
Straightforward.
Yeah, totally. Really stripped down game that provided just some of the most fun moments that I can remember in gaming. I mean, like it's somewhere in between this Forza Horizon and Burnout. You know, it kind of falls in. And again, I've never played a game quite that nailed this off-roadness so well. And I guess I missed out on some of the newer off-road games that have come out. But I have a feeling they don't have those fun mini games.
I'm just sure that they
I'm
don't.
just sure that they're lame.
They're more all about just the racing, not necessarily the. I mean, which racing is competition, but not as much about the style and the
and like the style and like
the hardcore.
Yeah, and I remember there was a game that came out that I did like called Dirt, and there's Dirt 2. Remember that game?
Straightforward.
Dirt, and that game was good.
Yeah,
that was as close as I've come to a racing game that's off road that's really exciting in that same way, because something Dirt really focused on was like crashing.
Yeah.
And if you crashed and you can roll, and I love those physics. I love
Well,
that's
it's
why I
what
like
makes
Burnout so
make or
much.
breaks a good racing game is how the car responds to the wreck,
Right.
Or not necessarily the wreck, but just the environment that it's in. If it feels like it's just straight up old Cruising USA style, where you pass through a tree and all that stuff, that's not fun.
Yeah,
Cruising USA
and
is
as
great,
much as I
so
love
not
Forza
knocking Cruising USA,
and PGR, they still don't have great like crash physics, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, their cars can get bent and you can flip over, but it doesn't look that good.
So my big memory of playing Smuggler's Run. I didn't play it a whole lot. I had a buddy who lived directly across the street from me who played it. When we played it. But so this one day, they came to my mom and dad's church. And so I was talking to him this one day, and this is when I was still trying to figure out like what I wanted to do with stuff. Like, but he knew
Be a smuggler.
he knew,
Is that why you were in church? Your parents were trying to help you?
No. My dad was the pastor. But
How many times must I repeat myself?
But one day we were talking because he knew Photoshop, and I was trying to figure. I mean, career wise, I was trying to figure out what.
Yeah.
So what point? And so I was like, oh, Photoshop. I'd like to learn Photoshop. And he's like, well, come over and I'll show you some stuff. And I was like, all right, cool. So we sat. I go over to his house, and we're sitting there. He shows me like how to basically cut out an object of an image and then overlay it somewhere else. Basic stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe took us 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, oh, dude, I've got this game, Smuggler's Run. You want to play it? And I was like, yeah, let's try it.
Show that to Mogan.
And so he's like, okay, cool. So we fired up.
Yeah.
And then next thing I know, it's been like an hour and a half, and my dad's called me. He's like, hey, we need you to come back. It's time to come home.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh shit,
Yeah.
I didn't learn anything about Photoshop, and that's why I'm over here. And so
All I did was smuggle run.
I get home, my dad's like, what'd you learn? And I said, well, I learned how to very detailed, way over the top, gave too much information on how you cut out something in Photoshop to make it sound like I learned something. But instead, no, I was playing Smuggler's Run.
Yeah, I mean, that's PS2 version right there. Oh, there's cops
Oh,
in it.
God,
I forget
the
about
cops.
that.
Run.
That's awesome.
Send me the link for this so I
Smuggle
can put this in.
faster.
Yeah, okay. Smuggle. So yeah, Smuggler's Run.
Smuggler's Run was a great game.
Not much. I mean, like
It's one I wish I could have played more because I
Yeah.
remember how fun it was to do.
It's so
it.
fun. I'm gonna text you that.
So, did
I'm
you have
done.
anything else on that
Yeah,
one? All
that's
right.
all
So I'm actually, if it's all right, I want to skip rank a little bit here in the or skip order,
Sir.
because my game that I was going to talk about very
We have
closely
decorum
aligns.
in this podcast. So I'm just
But
kidding.
my
I don't
game
care.
closely aligns to his.
Fine, go for it.
Ooh, what's
Okay,
yours?
so mine is also in a similar vein. It is. It's also
The Order 1896.
the Order Racing.
So nice, I'm going to say it twice.
Yes, it's so underrated.
But
it.
no, so this one came out. It's a PlayStation game. And it also is very similar in the fact that it is a vehicle-based game. I might have brought this one up a long time ago. But it was Star Wars Demolition.
I think you did bring this up.
Well, it's been a long time.
It's
I've
been a
never
really
heard
long
those
time.
words in my
Or maybe
life.
when I brought
maybe
up
we-
Twisted Metal, you might have mentioned.
Well, so
it.
that's why.
Because
It's pretty much the exact same gameplay of Twisted Metal. It's
Yeah.
very much you have vehicles, you try to destroy each other's vehicles by using the vehicles.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
very
yeah.
it's very straightforward. Obviously, it got bonus points for me
Star
because
Wars.
it's Star Wars. But the thing about it is that I think why most people didn't play it, same friend who had Smuggler's Run had this game. And shout out to Josh Everson.
Hey.
And so I played this game with him and then over at other friends' house. And it's one that I'm wanting to add to my retro game collection because basically, I mean, obviously it's what it is. You could be a lot of different weapons, vehicles from the Star Wars universe, AT-ST walkers. You could be Boba Fett because Boba Fett, you could be pretty much just Boba Fett by himself because he had a jetpack. You could also
cheating.
Yeah.
you could be like a speeder bike,
What's the big moose thing?
moose
Can't
thing.
be.
I don't know.
knows?
It's a big robot with legs.
AT-AT probably is
Oh,
what
is
you're
that what that
referring
is?
to. But
Sure,
no, you couldn't
whatever.
be that. It's too big, too powerful.
Be
You'd
Verizon.
be like
okay.
a snow speeder. You could also be the little speeder bikes that the battle droids use in episode 1 that you stood upright and you're like flew around on this. And so you could be at that, and I know a couple others that I'm forgetting. But the thing about why it's an underrated game is because it was just a great demolition derby kind of game.
Yeah.
But Twisted Metal was out around the same time, and Twisted Metal did way better. It's
like-
a very similar thing to Grand
Yeah.
Theft Auto 5 and Saints Row.
Yeah.
You could
It's
almost
also
say
like-
that Twisted Metal demolished the
Oh,
competition.
tip of the hat.
Oh.
Excellent
Tip of the hat to
wordplay.
that.
It's a high road joke right there.
Can you hit the camera?
That's like
Yeah, so that's where it's
and Dreamcast and PlayStation.
Yeah.
Like Dreamcast is a great system, but PlayStation,
PlayStation
was
did
out
better.
at the same time, and PlayStation big. Yeah, so underrated system, Dreamcast.
right.
Yeah, why aren't we talking about the Dreamcast?
Yeah, I can bring that in.
And the same kind of thing. It had a lot of great maps with a lot of great Star Wars locations. Obviously, changed around a little bit to fit into the Demolition Derby theme,
Yeah.
but it still just provided a great this is a very basic review of why we should do it, but it was a
Mine
good
was
game
basic.
for what it was.
Yeah.
You know, but definitely an underrated game because Twisted Metal came in, you know, or was there first
Yeah.
and just accrued a much
Yeah, who
bigger fan
copied
base.
who? Star Wars.
You know, yeah, Star Wars definitely like, well, and that's what I was reading. I was looking at like old reviews of the game too, and that's what one of them said was definitely just like what you may look as a cheap attempt to get licensing fees or, you know, to copy the idea and just license it to Star Wars.
Yeah.
Actually hides the fact that it's a pretty decent game.
There you go. Oh,
So,
interesting.
So if you got an old PlayStation sitting
Yeah.
around, or I'm surprised it's not. Well, I don't know. It probably didn't do well enough to make it onto like the digital store now. That's the PSN digital store. But you know, if you ever find Star Wars Demolition, A, give me a call so I can buy it.
So I can steal it.
But B,
Maybe
if
you're surprised it's like $500 now.
it's
Yeah.
a massive game.
Yeah, it's a
there used to be
rare.
a Star Wars board game that I used to have. Epic Duels
Is it worth
what
a
it was
lot
called.
now?
It was my favorite game. It was so fun. And I didn't have it anymore. And I looked on, I was like, I want to buy that game again. Went and looked, it's like $300.
Wow.
Oh, collector's
And
item.
now as I read more about it, people are like, it's the best Star Wars board game.
Ever.
Ever.
So I was like, well, shit. Guess I'm not getting that
I'm
one.
not going to buy that.
Not
no.
until you're rolling in that dough later in
right.
life.
Yep.
That's
So Star
right.
Wars Demolition, if you can find it, check it out. Great Demolition Derby game.
Cool.
Y'all ready for another wild departure
Yes.
from all the other
How
stuff
far-
we've done?
far away
We're
can we
going
go?
far away,
All
really far. So this is actually, it is such a missable game. I actually don't know if there like is a cult following for this game. I don't know if there's a following at all. I really played it in a vacuum. This was a game that I rented for my Wii U back when it was still new to me.
Somewhat recent.
So it's
not that
somewhat
old.
recent. I do believe that the game came out, I want to say in 2014, because I know they showed it at E3 from 2013. So
Okay.
I think I'm right about that. I think
Yeah.
it came out in 2014. And remember, the Wii U had precious few games that
Yeah.
were actually
Dime a dozen.
that were
Nope,
that
not
were
a dime a
actually
dozen.
good. So a lot of the games that came out for the Wii U were just trash games, you know,
Yeah.
marketing games, crap people just churned out of a factory. This was one of those rare gems that people could have very easily totally missed because, as far as I know, it was a brand new IP. Perhaps you have heard of The Wonderful 101.
No.
No.
Blank looks all around. So
right,
let me
let's
show you.
Google.
Let me show you some of the
you
magic
do it,
that is the
Mogan.
Wonderful 101. So
Cool.
let's-
That's not
Send me
a
these
bad
pictures.
title.
These pictures when send them to me so I can put them in.
oh, gotcha. The Wonderful
Not
101.
a bad
So it
title.
looks like slightly.
You
Let me get my
look like
monkey
you're really
paws on it.
It looks slightly like a ripoff
Lego.
of like a
Lego.
superhero.
So yes, so
Yeah.
the Wonderful 101, the whole premise is you are taking control of, it's like almost a top-down game.
Yeah.
You are taking control of 100
Some
wonderfuls.
kooky characters
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah, oh yes, yes. So the Wonderful 100 are the horde that you basically take control of.
Okay.
So how familiar are you with Pikmin?
I mean, from
Only
what you
from what
described.
you
Okay,
have
so
really
in
gone
Pikmin,
into.
you basically have a horde of Pikmin that you can
Yep.
use to direct at a common enemy. This game is fascinatingly similar to Pikmin combat almost, in that you can swarm creatures to an extent, but primarily you are controlling your horde of heroes by... It's a wild game. I really cannot explain it enough. Okay, so I don't even know where to start. It's crazy. Oh, I should start probably by saying this is from Platinum Games. It is from the same director that did Beautiful Joe way back on the
Oh, yeah,
GameCube.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That's actually why it kind of looks similar to Beautiful
Yeah.
Joe. He's the one that was behind Beautiful Joe and Bayonetta.
Okay.
And he did one other crazy game, and it's like, really, that guy's making this?
Yeah.
We're really excited about it now. So the people that were looking out for it were like, oh my god, it's going to be amazing, and it really is. It's one of the strangest gaming experiences I think I've had. So of course you've got the Wii U gamepad, and part of it is you can mostly play the game using the analog controls if you prefer. But a big part of it being on the Wii U was that technically you can also do commands by drawing on the screen. So it was part Okami, part Pikmin, part Beautiful Joe, part Bayonetta, in that it's action. This is all an action game. So technically there is a story mode. Nobody cares. The story is that your heroes are fighting an alien invasion. Nobody cares about the story. Everyone is playing for the wild, fast-paced, insane action. So your heroes each have special abilities, more or less. So the Wonder Red, he's your main protagonist, more or less. He's the red guy. He's the guy on the cover.
Main dude. Does he have a big fist?
His special power is a
Yeah.
big fist. Yes, that's exactly right.
fist.
So the other big main is probably Wonder Blue. He has a sword.
Okay.
There's
Nice.
Wonder Green. He's a big fat guy, and he's French. Now that I think about it,
Oui, oui.
yeah, indeed, a big fat French guy with a high-pitched voice. He was weird.
Wow, it's all coming back to you.
Yeah, it's all coming back to me. And he had a gun. And actually,
Oh
Wonder
my
Green.
God.
That doesn't seem
No.
right.
No, it doesn't
That is
seem
not
right.
well, for the Wii.
We'll get, it's a
This is
Wii
wrong.
U, sir.
Oh,
it is the
for
grown-up
adults.
version. And he had a gun, and then there was Wonder Pink, who was the obligatory female hero. There are others, of course, but she's the big main female hero, and she has a whip. And her entire character design is actually really similar to Bayonetta, kind of. So it's like, oh, look, it's a little mini Bayonetta, and she's pink and adorable.
Yeah.
And Wonder Red is really just a beautiful Joe. So it's like there are a lot of stylistic properties of this game that are very much callbacks to the Beautiful Joe series,
Okay.
which is wonderful because that was such a fun, poppy, colorful game. It was really iconic on the GameCube.
Yeah.
If you didn't play it, you probably didn't. You missed out.
I know Beautiful Joe.
Yeah,
I
you
don't know
don't.
if my buddy
Beautiful
played
Joe
it.
is wonderful.
Or,
that is a fun game.
Because he had a GameCube.
But so Wonderful 101, through using your primary heroes, you don't control all 100 of your people at the same time, obviously, and you don't always have 100 people in your group. You can have a smaller horde or a bigger horde. It just depends. But so to give an example of how you use these powers that your heroes have, if you draw an L shape on the screen, that's what activates Wonder Green's gun. So if you're primarily controlling Wonder Green and you draw that L shape, it's going to pull out his gun. Here's where things get complicated, though. If you draw that L bigger gun. If you draw that L huge, bigger gun. And the same
That's
thing,
kinda cool.
the
That
same-
is really
Yeah,
cool.
the same thing applies to the other ones. So I believe Wonder Pink, you draw an S for her whip. You can get a little whip or a big one or a really big one. And the same goes for the sword. It's just a straight line. Everybody uses the sword because it's for chumps. And I actually don't remember what you draw to get the fist. I don't know.
Square, maybe?
I was always
Maybe like an M.
Maybe something like that. I don't know. Maybe you just
Maybe you just punch
you
it?
probably just punch the
You punch
screen. I
your
don't know. So
Wii U.
I never
Do
really
it a
used
favor.
Wonder Red. I was all about Wonder Green and Wonder Pink. So basically, all you're doing is fighting enemies in this game, and you have various missions that propel you through the story. I will say that even though the story itself is not that strong, the characters really are.
Yeah, that
So
looks like a
did you
character-driven
really
game.
look at a bunch of the good ones?
Well,
So
only
let's
two
look
images.
at
It would only
Wonder
go through
Green.
2 images.
So there actually is a fair amount of voice acting for starters. So each of the characters, even though you get like a comic style word bubbles for all of their dialogue, a lot of them have really good voice acting. Wonder Green's is especially hilarious. That's Wonder Green.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's pretty, and they all wear like super stereotypical hero masks.
Yeah.
So they all have like the black
Like a
mask
pig?
over their eyes.
No, he's just a
Yeah, he's just a large
large
man.
guy.
How dare you, sir?
Sorry, that image I thought it looked like a pig snout.
Oh, almost, I guess. But yeah, so I cannot describe in words how wild and chaotic the combat is. It genuinely is one of the most, that's a much better one of all
That
the
is much better.
characters. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Wonder
Yeah, it looks
Blue
like
is
they
such
put a lot of work into
nerd.
that.
Wonder Pink is the best one. Anyways, so yeah, that's the basic idea is that you control the horde, use your various heroes to use their various attacks, basically, to just beat the shit out of everything. The whole point is just, hey, you see that enemy over there? Go make them explode.
Yeah.
And really, that's the whole point. But the action is so fast-paced, it actually can be a little overwhelming.
Really?
The only thing, well, heavens to Betsy, the primary complaint that I think a lot of people had about Wonderful 101 was, A, it had NES difficulty, so like old school
hard.
Nintendo difficulty, so it was actually quite a hard game. There were different modes, though. There was easy, very easy, and normal mode, and I was like, easier. Gonna go with the easier.
Whoops, my finger slipped. Oh,
no.
I can't go back. There we go.
We're too late. The it's
everybody.
game starting. So there was NES style difficulty, and the sheer amount of what's happening on the screen at any one time. You should watch gameplay footage of this game.
Craziness.
It is crazy to describe. I don't even really know how to accurately portray it, but it is just a wild ride of a game. And it will often switch view from like very top down to a lot of the boss battles will be much more up close and personal. Like if you're on a boss because it's a giant robot with your whole horde and you're all trying to fight it, it is fantastically amazing. And you're falling through the sky at the same time and a lot's going on and you're just like, oh my God. And that also means that a lot can kill you at the same time.
Right.
So in addition to you having a horde, a lot of the enemies kind of appear in hordes as well. So one of the primary complaints is that there's so much happening on the screen at any one time, your eyes can get lost.
Oh, wow.
Like you can kind of lose track of what's happening on the screen, or your eyes get redirected and you wind up looking at the wrong thing, and then you get killed from behind because you weren't looking at the right thing. And
Right.
so parts of it can be very frustrating. There are some parts of the game that are just unfortunate, but by and large, it is a fantastically difficult experience that no one got to have because nobody else has a Wii U.
no one played it.
Because nobody played it, but it's a wonderful game. Hence the title. That was accidental. Wonderful 101.
Whoa!
Oh,
Boom, just
through
stop
the
the
door.
podcast.
So for those, stop. We're done. So for those of you that still have your Wii U, this one is worth going back to. I will absolutely say it's worth a return. You need to play it if you like that kind of action. I don't even like that kind of game most of the time, but because of the other characteristics of this game, particularly the art style and the surprisingly good soundtrack. This
Soundtracks
game
do
had
a lot for a
really
game.
good
Yep, they certainly
soundtrack.
do.
So the action, the visuals, the soundtrack, it with the characterizations, it was all fantastic. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Criminally underrated.
Man, she's throwing around these 10 out of 10s.
Yeah.
All willy-nilly.
I think it got like 7 out of 10s. I don't know because people don't know
it
what
did
they're
fine.
talking about. Those are the
That's why
same
we're
people
talking
that
about
give Uncharted
underrated
10
game.
out of 10s, and they're wrong.
Same people.
Same people. Same culprits.
Harsh criticism.
So yeah, if you are
you're
able
right.
to, or at least watch some videos about Wonderful 101, it is a crazy game.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
It's really fun. I'm excited about it. Like it makes me
Yeah,
want to go
you're
back and
getting
play it
amped
again. But I
She's
don't
gonna go
own
plug
it.
in the Wii.
It reminds me of
Yeah, I rented it, so it's like.
I bet it's
oh,
cheap.
I will also say it was short.
Oh, really?
So part of the reason that I believe I rented it is I had heard in advance that it was a pretty short game. Now I think that's if you're good at it. So for me,
I had to rent it 3 times to finish it.
Blockbuster, take my money. I'm just kidding. So this was obviously a semi-newer game, so you can still absolutely find it in stores. I think when I last checked, its price had dropped to like $20 to $30.
Oh, not bad.
So it's not unreasonable, and you can get it
Pretty good.
used for even less than that. So definitely go back and play it if you can.
It reminds me of a
Nice.
game I used to play called Rampage, where you play as a monster and you go around destroying things.
That sounds
Rampage is
fun.
amazing.
Yeah, one of the best games of all time.
Oh, by
could have been
far.
put on this list, perhaps.
Pretty sure it's being made into a movie starring Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
It is as it should.
As it should.
You played that game, Rampage?
Oh, yeah.
Great game.
Rampage
you, like,
is the best.
You like bust out windows and eat people.
And
you
that
get
gives you
points
health.
for it.
But then if you die, you like it's like you demutate back into a person
Yeah.
and you're naked and you like waddle off the screen covering your,
oh
your
my
private
gosh.
parts.
Whoa. Yeah, flashbacks.
Love
Was
that
that an
game.
Xbox exclusive?
No, it was actually like an
No.
old school arcade game.
Oh.
No, I mean I
not
played it on
old
like
school.
N64. That's how I thought.
Yeah, I mean, it had arcade box versions of it that you would go to a
yeah,
place
yeah,
and play.
yeah.
But
I
yeah, you
played
can
it
play
on
it in other
a
places.
system.
I could play it on those old like Flash video games, game websites. You know,
yeah, okay.
it was
Yeah.
always on there too.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well,
That's a
that,
fun game.
ladies and gentlemen, is some of our picks for underrated games. Let us know if we missed any good ones that you've out there played and you're sitting there going like, oh man, this is a game the world needs to know about.
Yeah.
Let us know because we always love hearing what you all think about these games too. But before we go, we do have to do our song contest. Oh, again, send us teamchatpodcast@gmail.com or write them on our Facebook, Twitter. You can reply in the comments on YouTube. Lots of ways to get in contact with us. Now, before we go, we do have to do our song contest for this week. Coming to us from Dylan Biles.
I'm excited.
His hint is Salvation has a very distinct color. Salvation has a very distinct color.
Okay.
Now,
Destiny.
Destiny.
Am I right?
No.
Son of a bitch.
Now, the rules to this contest are as follows if you're not familiar with them. We will post the song as separate from the episode Wednesday, 9 a.m. That's when the contest actually starts. We give you about a good solid day to think about it. See if you can probe through your memories to figure out if you know what this soundtrack is. First person to correctly guess the song by replying to those posts on Facebook, Twitter, or on the YouTube comments. We do this solely based off of time of entry of when the comment goes onto the page. We pick the winner. That winner. I'm making this really
You're making
complicated.
this more complicated than it has to
I
be.
really am. Basically, first person to correctly guess the song
Yeah, that's all
is the
you have
person
to
who
say,
says.
bro.
I was trying to point out the fact that you can put it on our Facebook, on our Twitter,
our YouTube.
and the YouTube channel. First person to do it across all those platforms is who wins and gets to send us a song and hint for a future episode, just like Dylan did for this episode.
Nice.
So that wraps up this episode of Team Chat Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time, I am one of your hosts, Jerrett Wilson, joined to my right by Rachel Mogan.
Aloha.
And to my left, that threw me off.
That did.
It means both.
I know it means both. I know it means
I
both,
learned
but
that
it
in Adam
still threw me
Sandler
off.
movie.
And to my left, Zachary Parks.
Adios.
We'll see you all next time. Stick around for the song.